Like date night, that's great. Anybody can make a reservation. If you successfully make her dinner.
Remember Rachel Ray? For years, she was everywhere. She built an empire on 30-minute meals, launched best-selling cookbooks, music, and became a daily presence in millions of homes. But behind the cameras, her story took turns that most viewers never saw coming. So what really happened? And where is she today? Join us as we take a closer look at Rachel Ray's rise, her hardest moments, and what she looks like now. Weeknight cooking. Rachel Ray didn't become famous because she set out to be a TV star. Her rise started in a much more ordinary place, a gourmet food market in upstate New York. At the time, she was working with food every day and dealing with the same thing many people struggle with: how to make a good meal when you're tired, busy, and short on time. Customers would come in after work, stressed and hungry, and ask what they could cook without spending all night in the kitchen. Instead of giving them complicated recipes, she focused on quick, practical steps that felt doable for normal people. That's where the idea of 30-minute meals was born. It wasn't meant to be a brand at first. It was simply a helpful method she taught to people who needed real solutions. Music. She showed them how to plan a fast dinner, what ingredients to keep on hand, and how to move through a recipe without getting stuck. Her goal wasn't to impress anyone. It was to make cooking less stressful. Over time, those short lessons turned into something bigger. People started talking about it, repeating it, and wanting more of it. Without trying to, she had created a style of cooking that matched modern life. Quick, energetic, music, and focused on getting food on the table. In 2000, that idea reached a major turning point. She released her first cookbook built around the same simple promise: meals you could make quickly with clear steps and everyday ingredients. The book didn't just share recipes. It sold a feeling of control for people who felt overwhelmed by cooking. It caught attention because it spoke to a huge group: busy workers, parents, students, and anyone who wanted dinner without the stress. That success helped her stand out in a world where many food personalities were still focused on long, fancy cooking. The cookbook also helped her get noticed by Food Network executives. By 2001, she was offered her own show. That move changed everything. In 2002, 30-minute meals premiered, and it quickly became a hit. Viewers liked her pace, her confidence, and the fact that she didn't talk down to them. The show ran for a long time until 2019, which is a huge achievement in television. It proved that her style wasn't a short trend. It was something people kept coming back to year after year, and she didn't stop with one show. As her popularity grew, she became a regular presence on the network. She expanded into travel and budget-friendly food with programs like $40 a Day Music and Rachel Ray's Vacation. In 2005, she launched her own magazine, adding another major platform to music, her brand. Then in 2006, she debuted her daytime talk show, which ran until 2023. During those years, she juggled TV, publishing, and business, while also putting out more than 20 cookbooks and building product lines that kept her name everywhere. On the outside, it looked like a nonstop success story, but the harder parts were already waiting in the background. Next, let's get into what was really going on behind the scenes while she was smiling on camera. The voice everyone recognizes. One of the first things people notice about Rachel Ray isn't just her fast music cooking style or energetic personality. It's her voice. That raspy, slightly growly sound has become one of her most recognizable traits. Even if someone wasn't watching the screen, they could often tell it was her just by hearing her speak. Over the years, that voice became part of her brand. It made her stand out in a crowded television space filled with polished presenters and classically trained chefs. For many viewers, the rasp music added personality. It felt real and unfiltered. It made her sound different from anyone else on food television. But what most people didn't realize is that the voice millions found charming was actually tied to long-term medical challenges. Rachel Ray has explained that her vocal issues started in childhood. She frequently suffered from CRO, a respiratory condition that affects the airway and can cause swelling around the vocal cords. For some children, CRO is temporary and music fades without lasting problems. In her case, repeated infections weakened her vocal cords over time. That early damage made her voice naturally rougher and more fragile than most people's. As her fame grew, so did speculation. Because her music voice is so raspy, some assumed it was caused by smoking or years of vocal strain music from yelling in kitchens. Others simply thought it was an affectation, something she exaggerated for television. She addressed those rumors directly in interviews, explaining that she had never shaped her voice for effect. It was simply how she sounded. She also made it clear that smoking had nothing to do with it. The rasp wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was something she had dealt with music since she was a child. The strain of daily television eventually took a toll. In 2008, she underwent surgery to remove a cyst from music, one of her vocal cords. A cyst can interfere with vibration and make speaking painful or difficult, especially for someone who talks for hours each day on camera. The procedure required complete vocal rest for music a full week. No talking at all. For someone whose career depends on speaking, that silence was significant. After surgery, she worked closely with a voice specialist. She learned exercises to strengthen and protect her throat. She was also advised to make lifestyle music adjustments, including reducing caffeine, which can dry out the vocal cords and make irritation worse. Protecting her voice became a daily commitment. It wasn't just about sounding good on television. It was about preventing further damage. Despite all of this, she continued filming, hosting, and appearing publicly with the same energy people expected. Viewers may have heard the rasp, but they didn't always see the discipline behind maintaining it. What sounded natural required real care and constant management. And while she was managing her health on camera, something far more frightening was about to happen off-screen. Just as she was finding her rhythm on television, her life in New York would take a sudden and violent turn. Twice attacked. When people think about Rachel Ray's early career, they often picture the bright parts: cooking, TV opportunities, and her quick meal idea taking off. But before all of that, she went through something scary that changed how she lived and where she chose to build her life. In 1995, she moved to New Music, York City. At that time, the city had started to change. Major crime reforms and policing changes began in the mid-1990s, and crime numbers were beginning to improve compared to earlier years. But improving didn't mean safe. Many neighborhoods still had real risks, and violent incidents could still happen without warning, especially in certain areas and at certain times. Rachel was living in Queens, trying to build her life and career like so many young people who come to New York with big goals. But only a couple years after moving there, she became the target of a violent mugging. According to the story she later shared publicly, the first attack happened in the lobby of her apartment building. A young man came in behind her. Before she could react, he slammed her face against the door and pressed a gun into her back. Then he demanded her bag. That moment could have ended very differently, but she reacted quickly. She reached for the mace her father had given her when she moved to the city, turned around, and started screaming. The attacker ran off. Even though she got away, it wasn't a small thing. Being attacked at gunpoint in your own building, where you're supposed to feel safe, can shake your sense of security fast. It's not just the fear in the moment. It's what happens after, when you start thinking about every hallway, every door, and every step you take alone. But what happened next made it even worse. Just 1 week later, the same man came back. This time, the situation turned violent again, and she was assaulted in an alley. She was physically beaten. After being attacked once, a person might hope it was bad luck or a one-time thing. Being attacked again by the same person within days makes music it feel personal and terrifying. It also sends a clear message. This isn't going away on its own. That second attack became the breaking point. Rachel decided she was done with living in fear. She packed up and moved out of the city, heading back to upstate New York. Later, she summed up the decision in a way that was blunt and easy to understand. She had been mugged twice in 1 week, and she didn't want to stay. She even said something along the lines of, "Wouldn't you want to leave?" And honestly, it's a fair question. For most people, 2 violent attacks in such a short time would make staying feel impossible. That move mattered. Upstate New York became the place where she rebuilt her sense of normal life. It's also where she continued shaping the practical cooking style that would later make her famous. The public mostly met her as the upbeat TV personality, but this part of her story shows something else. She made hard choices to protect herself, and she did it without turning it into drama. And just when things seemed calmer, another kind of backlash hit her. This time from the public and even famous chefs. The Dunkin' firestorm. By 2009, Rachel Ray was already a household name. She had cookbooks, television shows, and a strong connection with everyday families. So, when she music partnered with Dunkin' Donuts for an advertising campaign, it didn't seem shocking at first. In fact, it fit her image. Her whole brand was built around accessible food, quick meals, affordable ingredients, and no pressure to be fancy. Coffee and donuts were part of daily life for many Americans, so the partnership looked like a natural extension of her style. But what seemed simple quickly turned into a major public controversy. The biggest criticism came from celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain. He publicly attacked her for endorsing the brand. In interviews, he used strong words, even calling her evil and accusing her of peddling crack to kids. His argument was that promoting fast food and sugary products contributed music to unhealthy eating habits, especially among children. Because Bourdain was widely respected in the culinary world, his comments gained attention fast. It wasn't just random online criticism. It was coming from one of the most recognized chefs on television music at the time. The situation escalated even further because of something unexpected, a scarf. In one of the ads, Rachel wore a black and white patterned scarf. Some critics online began claiming the pattern resembled a keffiyeh, a traditional Middle Eastern scarf that has political associations in certain contexts. A few commentators went as far as suggesting it symbolized extremism. The accusation spread quickly across blogs and social media. What began as criticism over a donut endorsement suddenly turned into a debate involving politics and symbolism. The backlash grew louder. Headlines multiplied. Online outrage spread. What started as a brand deal turned into a full-blown public relations storm. Through all of it, Rachel Ray did not back down. She addressed the controversy directly in interviews, including one with ABC News. She explained that Dunkin' had approached her about helping improve their menu options. She said the company was working toward offering healthier choices, and that she believed in supporting that music effort. She also pointed out her personal connection to the brand, explaining that she grew up drinking their coffee. Another important piece often overlooked in the controversy was her charity Yuma. Dunkin' supported her nonprofit organization, which focused on helping kids and families develop better relationships with food. From her perspective, the partnership wasn't just about selling coffee. It also helped fund programs she cared deeply about. Despite the harsh criticism, she stayed firm. She made it clear she did not regret her decision. "I don't regret a thing," she said. For her, the partnership aligned with who she was, someone who believed food should be approachable and part of real life. But the Dunkin' controversy wouldn't be the last time her name got pulled into drama, sometimes for reasons that made even less sense. Next, she would find herself dragged into a celebrity cheating scandal that had absolutely nothing to do with her mistaken identity. One of the strangest waves of backlash Rachel Ray ever faced had nothing to do with cooking, television, or even anything she actually did. It came from a major celebrity scandal that exploded online and pulled her into the mess purely because people mixed up two similar names. It started when rumors about Jay-Z cheating began spreading music heavily on the internet. Around the same time, Beyoncé's music and public image were being discussed in a very intense way, especially after lyrics and public hints made fans feel like they were watching a real relationship crisis unfold in public. The phrase "Becky with the good hair" became a huge part of the conversation. Many fans believed the line pointed to a real person, and people online started trying to solve who it was. Then fashion designer Rachel Roy posted an Instagram caption that some fans thought was a direct reference to the Beyoncé drama. The post included wording that people connected to Beyoncé's lyrics, and that was enough to set off a major reaction. Fans quickly began focusing their anger on Rachel Roy. The problem was that not everyone paid close attention to who she actually was. Some people saw Rachel Roy, heard it quickly, or read it fast, and assumed it meant Rachel Ray, the TV cook. That's when music, the confusion, became a real problem. Roy and Ray are two completely different public figures. Rachel Roy is a fashion music designer. Rachel Ray is a television host and cookbook author. They don't work in the same industry. They don't run in the same circles. And there was no real connection between Rachel Ray and the cheating rumors at all. But online outrage doesn't always stop to check facts. Once the music mistake started spreading, it multiplied fast. Rachel Ray began receiving angry messages, comments, and tweets from people who believed she was involved in the scandal. Some of the messages were harsh and personal, accusing her of being a home wrecker and worse. Others said they would stop watching her show or stop supporting her work. It didn't matter that the accusations didn't make sense. In the middle of a music fast-moving online pylon, the emotional reaction often comes first, and the truth comes later, if it comes at all. This is where the Beehive reaction became a big part of the story. Beyoncé's fan base is famously intense and loyal, and when they believe someone music has disrespected her, they can be loud and organized online. In this case, some fans were aiming at the wrong person. Rachel Ray was basically caught in the crossfire of an internet storm she didn't create and couldn't control. Eventually, the confusion became widely recognized and many people understood the mistake. But that doesn't erase what it's like to suddenly be targeted by thousands of strangers, music, for something you had zero part in. It was a perfect example of how quickly public anger can spill onto the wrong person, especially when names are similar and people are already fired up. And as if that wasn't enough, the rumors didn't stop there. Next came years of public gossip about her own marriage.